Okay. We're having some technical difficulties here. Shit. Okay. All right. Well, I tried to fix all the problems from last time, which included the vertical orientation of the video and stuff. But yeah, that didn't work out. So we've got, hopefully we'll get at least one person in here. And that'll be fun. So, oh shoot. It's time to stream. Okay, so on today's menu we have two 3D printers. So let me just get everything all ready here. First on the table is going to be the Elegoo Neptune 4. So let's open that one up. And both of these printers are $260. So they're like in the same price range. Yeah, so YouTube as a streaming platform kind of sucks. But we've got it going now. Thanks for joining, everyone. So yeah, we got two printers on the table here. I've actually had both of these printers for like over a month. But it's finally time to review them. Or at least put them together. I'll probably do a review in a couple of... we'll give it a couple weeks, and I'll put a review out for both of these printers. But just move all this stuff off to the side. What's this? All right, so how's it going, everyone? There's our parts. Let's just get everything out of the boxes. All right, so here's our Elegoo stuff. And then we'll open this one. This is the Mingda Magician X2. Man, YouTube's got to throw so many wrenches at me. Nothing was working. Alright, so looks like these should be pretty simple to build. Alright, I'm gonna check the comments. How's everyone doing? Sound is far. Okay, I'll put on my my lav mic. Please give me a moment to install the lav mic. And I'm gonna need to do a little mic check to see if you guys can hear. So Ooh, actually I can't do that for reasons. I'll get closer to the camera for, you know, talkie time. But yeah, every time I start up a stream, it's like there's so much going on, so much of YouTube just not working. I'll give Elegoo one compliment. All their recent FDM printers look sick. Yeah, they are going for speed, which seems to be the right approach that people like. All right, no lav mic today, but I'll just be closer to the phone here. So, jump in and say your content has been on point, man. Thank you, Kadim Namaman. All right, so let's start with this Elegoo printer first. This is the one that I'm honestly more excited about. It's got clipper on it, so, you know, low budget clipper machine. It's always good. I just got to get all these tools out. So just kind of give you a bag stuffed full of tools. That's all good. Now I think what I'll need to do here is just put this on like so. And yeah, that's about it. Nothing too complicated here. I do need to put some screws in through the bottom of the machine. So this is just your standard Ender 3 style type design. I mean, this thing is extremely similar to an Ender 3, except more refined and faster, so I think this should be pretty good. And I got 4 of these screws. Whew. Sorry if I'm a little rustled. YouTube wasn't working. And I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now? All my fans are waiting on me. So I'm glad it's working now, hopefully. Yep, we're still streaming. All right, so there's been this trend where everybody's reviewing expensive machines. It seems like you can't get a printer for under $500 nowadays. But we're gonna return to form here a little bit and review some cheapo machines. Let's see what you can get for under $300. Both of these are $259.99, so not too expensive. Not too bad. It's a good entry-level point for people who are interested in getting into 3D printing, so excellent price. Now, the reason why people don't make as many videos about these low-budget machines is because they have low-budget commissions. But, you know, this here review is going to be for the people. So, let's see. Sounds hard to believe, maybe some speed difference in quality. CoreXY will have less moving mass because the bed moving back and forth. How do we get perfect bed level on the K1 Max? I'm not sure yet. I think it's a software problem because, you know, it just came out and Creality has a tendency to release half-baked products, some of which they fix, some of which they don't fix. I think the K1 and K1 Max series are going to be kind of their main product that they're kind of going to spend a lot of resources on. So I think they're going to fix all the bugs with it. And we've seen a lot of the bugs getting fixed, like the extruder and some other stuff. So I would just hang tight on that. it's kind of like they shipped it out good enough, and then they're going to work on some software improvements. But speaking of this machine, this Neptune Max, I really like the surface finish that they have on here. I don't know if it's painted or anodized, but it's a really cool color. What do you think of this color? This is like one of my favorite colors here. This like bluish, matte, grayish color. And some black parts. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to check the tightness of all these bolts, and yeah, they're fine. Everything seems well put together. So that's that. That's most of the printer assembled already. I've got a couple more pieces on here. We'll just slap it together. So we'll put one up here. A little spool holder. So what do you guys think about reviewing 2 printers at a time? I mean, it's kind of like a time saver for me because I only have to film 1 video instead of 2. And I'm also live streaming it, which is like ultimate lazy content producer status. But I think it lets you see these printers in context with what else is on the market. So with these 2 machines being equally matched in price, I think it's a pretty good comparison here. What's with the Ender 5S1 in the back? I've just had so many other printers and projects that I haven't been able to work on it, really. Yeah, the vertical stream POG, I tried doing horizontal streaming and the thing wouldn't work. So, yeah. Neptune 4 Max. I'm sure they'll be coming out with a Neptune 4 Max. This print area, according to the spec sheet, is 225 by 225. Okay, so it's only it's probably the same bed that they use on an Ender 3, but they use more of the bed surface. On the Ender 3, it's 235 by 235, and they only use a 220 by 220 segment in the middle. This one, it looks like it says it uses 225 by 225. So just slightly bigger, but roughly Ender 3 sized. Oh wow, this is one of the first machines that I've got where the wheels are under tensioned from the factory, ever so slightly. I mean, it's usable, but I'll tighten them up just a little bit to get a tiny bit more precision. A lot of the time when I get 3D printers, they over tension the wheels, so they come with flat spots. This one, slightly under tensioned, is the way to go. I mean, you could probably actually run it like this and it would be fine, but I like to set my machines up just right, so I'll probably tighten it just a little bit. Is there a way to use 235 by 235 on the S1 Pro? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Nameon likes the hat. Oh, I need to promote Sweham to moderator status. There you go. You've earned your wings. YouTube Adrian. Should I upgrade my Prusa i3 MK3S to the new K1 with good extruder, excluding the price? That's a tough question. It depends on whether you need that enclosure or not, because you're getting the same speed with these lower budget printers. Well, at least this one, the Elegoo. Then there's the Soval SV07. So you're getting the same speed as what the K1 Max and P1P are offering, but at a lower price. So I'm all about those value budget buys. And this seems like a really nicely built machine. We'll take a look. We'll give it a little 360 when we're done here, but so far this Elegoo machine looks really nice. All right, here's our additional fan module that goes on the back. This huge bank of 4020 fans. Okay, and let's see what else we got. Then we've got our little screen holder. This thing. Okay, yeah, that fits on over here in the same spot that it always is. I'm gonna move my table up a little bit. Yeah, I had all these plans to do like a time lapse of me building these things. Actually, I should set that up because that's pretty easy to get going. I'm going to record a time lapse of this whole process. So if I do a full review, I'll have footage of what happened. Alright. Alright, time lapse is going. Any questions in the chat about these machines or what's going on? Yeah, so this fan setup does look pretty crazy. We'll see how it works. You just wanted to show off your table. Yes, brought to you by FlexiSpot. They sponsored a video, so just so you know, I'm a FlexiSpot shill now. Although it's genuinely a nice table, if you want to believe me. Okay, so let's get this little side screen mount attached. Did anyone here who bought the K1 themselves have any issues other than ones Creality supposedly fixed? I don't know. I've actually heard kind of mixed results from people that got K1s. A lot of people have not had any issues at all, and a few people have had issues with the nozzle leaking, and I actually want to make a video about that because I had an issue on mine too. My K1's out of service right now. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll be able to see that video. Anyone here like TikTok? But I'll show you what happened. So my K1 Max was printing along just fine, and I decided to start up a print job. But as you can recall, I installed a different extruder on that K1 Max, which I had to increase the flow rate in order to get the parts to come out right on it because I couldn't adjust the E-steps per millimeter on that machine. So I compensated for it in the slicer. So basically, all my G-code was set to extrude 150% plastic, so it's just over extruding to the max. But that ended up working out on the old extruder because the E-steps per millimeter were wrong. But what I did is I unintentionally created some cursed G-code that when I ran it later, because I wanted to compare the results before and after adding that new extruder, it over extruded the whole time, and it made gigantic lumps of plastic that it was continually ramming into, and it broke the nozzle off. So yeah, cursed G-code. Definitely don't want to run that on your machine. But yeah, that's where I'm at. K1 is out of service for now. I can fix it because I have a spare nozzle on hand, but it's going to be annoying, and I would rather focus on a different machine like this one. So let's get it put together. I'm going to read the instructions here. Let's see. I have this R-shaped buckle, but I'm not sure where it goes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's plug this in. We got a nice long cable here. It's like a telephone cable or a Ethernet. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is an Ethernet cable that they provide. And there should also be a telephone cable here. Oh, no, that's not going to plug in there. Huh. Did I lose the telephone cable? Oh, there you go. Huh. Well, I need a telephone cable, apparently. Let's see, is it in here? Yeah, it seems like I'm missing a cable here. That's not a good start. Because there's a cable. Oh, wait. I'm missing the screen too. It must be put away somewhere. Where is it? Where's my screen? Alright, I got it here. It's just tucked away in the box somewhere. But if we check this out, we've got our nice little interface. We can pick it up. Let's say this is, you know, the machine's up high or down low. You can take the screen off and just use it like this, which is pretty handy. What else do we need to do here? Instructions manual. Tell me the way. Quite simple. Actually, I'm not sure. It may be possible, but there's a firmware limits in place. Only if you slam it. Is it possible to use the whole 235? You know, on this one, it might be. It looks like you can actually reach both ends of the bed. So there might be a way to reprogram it to use the whole area. It might not be able to get all the way to the back here. But at least there might be some ways to adjust it to get it to use this entire print surface. Okay, so let's finish this. There's probably only a couple more steps here. Filament runout detector. Okay, yeah, that's it. So I'll just plug this filament runout detector in on top, and then that should be it for this machine. Man, I lose things so rapidly. It's crazy. Okay, here we go. I will say the fit and finish on this machine is better than any of the Ender 3s that I've used, including the Ender 3 S1, which is like Creality's latest Ender 3 that they've released. So yeah, Creality definitely needs to step it up on their Ender 3 lineup. All right. Now I just need to plug all the cables in, and this one will be done. Lots of cables to plug in. One of these cables takes a little bit of excess force to install, but nothing too bad. And then I guess I plug this up here. I'll get it in this little cable guide. There we go. And we'll plug in some more of these. Boom. So many cables. It's really not too bad, but I've been kind of getting spoiled by the $500+ printers that all come pre-assembled. Here I'm having to do some of the work myself. Unacceptable. Okay, so I'm not sure what to do with the cable management here. I'm just going to throw a zip tie on for now. Although there's probably a more elegant way to do this. I have this little R-shaped buckle. Maybe that's what I use. Alright, and then let's see, when this moves up to the top, we've got enough cable, so I think that's all good. I'm just going to tighten up all the screws here, and we are pretty much done with this machine. We can move on to the Mingda Magician X. I'm gonna flip the little power switch down here, and I think we're all good. Maybe I should just plug this one in and get a print started. But I have to do a bed leveling procedure on it. It's got the bed leveling knobs. Something that I think companies could do without now is, you know, you don't need to have these bed leveling knobs since pretty much every machine has automatic bed leveling now. You should benchmark the fan array with a black pepper. Ah, yeah. I don't have any black pepper here with me right now, but we'll see. But it looks pretty good. I mean, I like the surface finish of all the aluminum parts. Everything fits together really nicely. Assembly took, what, 30 minutes? Then bed leveling is going to take another 20 minutes, so not bad at all. I'll just plug it in and at least get it turned on so we can see some lights start blinking or something. Alright, so we've got a little bit of power supply noise, but our little Elegoo logo is popping up. Yeah, I like the color on these extrusions. It's an excellent choice. They could have gone with Barbie pink, but I don't think that would suit most people. All right, so let's go over to this little guy over here and get that set up. Now, something a lot of people have complained about on this machine is their use of styrofoam as a packing material. So you can see there's like little bits of styrofoam, little itty bits of styrofoam there, kind of all over everything. I don't think that's too big of a deal. I mean, you can just get rid of that pretty quickly. Just blow it off. But yeah, let's get this put together. Now this one, the build quality is a little bit different. I won't say it's worse, but it certainly is different. The whole bottom frame is injection molded plastic. The top just kind of slots in like this, and then there's probably a couple screws to hold it in place. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. That is a very interesting build quality. But it also looks like we've got less parts overall to assemble. So let's see how many fasteners we have. Looks like we've got just one tiny bag of fasteners. And these four get installed in the side here. And then I assume two of these go in the bottom. Okay, let's look up a little bit. Here we go. I actually want to get a K1, but I've heard so much conflicting information about it. I wish Creality would get their QC in check so reviews would be consistent. Yeah, so the big problem with the K1 was that they released it to reviewers early before they had their production models ready. And so there was like, you know, issues that the production machines won't have on there. But at the same time, I don't know, Creality hasn't had the best track record on quality control. There's definitely the perception that Bamboo Lab has better quality control. Because they're only making one product, they can really focus on setting up proper quality controls for their one product. I mean, they have like 4 model numbers, but they're all basically the same thing. They're using the same extrusions, the same motion control systems. It's all pretty much the same printer. So, I mean, it really allows them to focus on getting that right instead of Creality being split in 100 different directions. It seems like the K1 is getting a lot more attention than the other printers, and they do claim to be doing some QC on there, but you know, it's one of those things where it just takes one bad experience to kind of sour someone on a brand. So it's worth paying extra for QC. I mean, like I sell the modder board, which some people in the audience have probably tried out, but I do 100% quality control testing on those, because like the worst thing that can happen is you sell someone something and it doesn't work right. I guess for a lot of other people, the worst thing that could happen is you don't make the most money on your product, but I don't know. I think it's, even if you do the math and it ends up being more profitable to not do quality control and just replace things through warranty, the damage to your brand image is, it's something that is worth considering. Like, what's that worth? Probably pretty valuable. And I think Bamboo Lab has the better design when it comes to their extruder and hot end. So those two critical parts of the printer, you know, you want those to be reliable. On my K1, I've had failures on the extruder, and now I've had a failure on the hot end, which was completely my fault, but at the same time, it needs to be a little more dummy proof for people to have a good experience. You know that saying that the customer's always right? Well, it's true. They're always right, even when they're wrong. I would like to torque these bolts down a little bit, but they gave me this kind of short lever arm there. So I'm just gonna throw a little cheater bar wrench thing on here and torque it down a little more. Alright, so those two are tightened down. Interestingly enough, it only uses 2 bolts in the bottom, and then it uses these 4 bolts on the side, which I don't think are going to be providing that much rigidity, but that's how Mingda have chosen to design this thing. It's an interesting choice. It's probably fine. Alright, so we'll plug all these in. Okay. And I'll attach the hot end. So overall it looks like these machines are going to take about the same amount of time to get set up. So here's our hot end. Pretty interesting little design here. Looks like there's this really beefy stamped sheet metal part here that holds it onto the carriage. We've got a Titan style extruder Titan style direct drive extruder, which those are pretty good. They're not great, but they get the job done on a lot of low budget machines. Then we've got like a mini V6 style heatsink in there and a mini little heater block here. It's a pretty conventional design, kind of old school. But we've got two fans here that looks like it's to keep the extruder and hot end heatsink cool. Then we've got our part cooling fans here. There's one there and one there. So 4 fans on this thing. That's quite a bit. And the size of this tool head is pretty hefty. I don't have a Sprite hot end sitting around, but let me find one. Well, this is the Bamboo Lab tool head, so I mean, if you look at them side by side, they're actually about the same size. But I think the Bamboo Lab one is quite a bit lighter and more compact, maybe higher performance. This is just something where they're like, let's just make something, and they made it. So, congratulations, Mingda, you made a printer. Alright, so it looks like it's held on with 2 screws. It's a pretty interesting mechanism. It's just got one threaded hole there and one through hole there. Then you put it on here, there's a through hole there and a threaded hole up top. So it's just held together with 2 screws, which we have here. All right. These wheels are pretty much perfectly tensioned up top. Then on the bottom, things are a little bit loose, so we're going to have to do some V-groove wheel tensioning, which is everybody's favorite part of 3D printing. At least they give you a nice wrench to do this, so it should be pretty easy. Yeah, that wasn't too... Oh, this still feels wobbly. Huh. Okay, I didn't tension that one correctly. Wow, this is... Oh, yeah, this was an issue on the first Mingda Magician X I reviewed. It's, this whole Y stage is attached to an injection molded base here. So you can actually, like the actual base of the machine flexes a little bit. And it makes this whole bed seem a little bit loose. It's weird. I think I just need to tighten this stuff up a little bit more. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. This is very interesting. Well, I mean, it should print just fine. It just feels kind of cheap. Let me zoom you in on what I'm talking about here. So everyone can see that little portion. When I wobble this back and forth, you can see it moving. This little gap, like you can probably fit a wrench under there almost. You can definitely fit a piece of paper under there. But, you know, it's made out of plastic. What do you want? That's the takeaway there. The first Mingda that I reviewed was also really plasticky. That's something that I find, there's like two types of 3D printer companies. There's ones that use a lot of plastic, and then there's ones that make things out of mostly metal. That's one of the things that I liked about the original Ender 3 and its clones, is that they're mostly made out of metal, and metal is superior in most ways. So yeah, I'm just going to plug in a couple of these ribbon cables. This thing just has kind of a cheap plasticky feel all around. But, you know, if it works, it works. We'll try it out. It doesn't have to be made out of metal. Although this Elegoo Neptune 3 here is pretty nice. It's mostly metal. You'll break the plastic studs. Wait until you print it with ink. Oh yeah. You know, like 3D printing is a very low force manufacturing process. It's not like a CNC machine where everything needs to be built to withstand a sledgehammer. Like, these can be relatively flimsy and still print fine. I mean, just look at the Prusa Mini. Like, that thing shouldn't be, it's not very strong. Like, you could break it probably if you wanted to, just with one hand bending the arm. But it's strong enough to 3D print with. And as long as you don't have external forces bumping it around, then it really shouldn't matter that much. As long as you're printing at relatively low speeds. Once you get into high-speed printing, then you have to have a relatively rigid machine. Alright, so that's all good. Now we got to get some filament for these machines to feed them, and unfortunately they both come with this kind of crap, you know. Why even bother? I guess it lets you practice with some things, but I pretty much just throw these mini spools away because they're not good for anything. So here's your choice. Do you want the Elegoo PLA, or do you want the Mingda PLA? All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. We'll take a look at these two machines side by side. I'll get this tube. All right, cool stuff. Both of these machines are relatively quiet. They both just have like a small power supply fan on. The Neptune has like a nice soothing noise to it. I'll put you up next to the fan so you can hear it. And then the Mingda Magician X has a little bit of a whirring noise. That's probably a little bit quieter, but I find it to be a little bit more annoying in terms of the frequency that it's outputting. So neither is dead silent at idle, which, you know, it is what it is. You trust Elegoo more. Well, I mean, this Elegoo does seem to be better quality, and it has more features. So yeah, I'm not sure who the target audience for the Mingda Magician X is, but Elegoo seems to be killing it right now. Let me get some PLA to load up on both of these machines, and we'll get printing. So, let me find some PLA here. Etchbox, nah. I've got some cool PLAs. Here's a little bit of rainbow PLA from Sovol. Might try that. Here's some more rainbow PLA. It's like a blue-green gradient. Let me get something else. I've got some other cool ones around here somewhere. Here's some Creality rainbow PLA. Looks like it changes colors pretty slowly. Rainbow silk. We're gonna, by the way, this is gonna be an audience choice. So whatever you guys wanna print with, we're gonna go with it. I've got a couple more cool spools around here that I wanna bring out. Then we've got this from Sovol. It's co-extruded. So it's like one color on one side and another color on the other side. I think it's like 3 colors, red, green, blue. Or maybe purple, green, blue, red, green, purple. Then there's this one, which is 2 colors. On one side it's teal, on the other side it's orange. So dual color filament. So let's do a quick survey. I'm gonna just check the chat, see what you guys want. All right, Sweetham, see you later. Overall, odd how Elegoo is a better printer for the same price. Yeah, the Elegoo came out more recently, and they're pretty aggressive with making higher quality stuff for lower cost. So you really like the Sovol filament. Print the hardest filament type nylon based. Carbon fiber nylon isn't actually very difficult to print. Rainbow Creality, okay. 2 people are saying rainbow Creality, so we'll go with one of these there. So pull that out. All right, so we'll set that up on one machine. What's our next spool gonna be? Dual color filament, dual or rainbow? Okay. Well, there's a tri-color filament as well. Do you want dual or tri? All right, so that's all loaded up. Tricolor. Okay, we'll do the tricolor. Ta-da! This is the first time I've used this type of multicolor filament, so we'll see how it works out for us. This stuff's weird though. Like, it's red, blue, and green, depending on which angle you look at it. All right, and let's get our nice overhead light on. So, woo, colors. All right. All right, so we'll load that up. But of course, the first print we have to do on any printer is the speed benchy, right? Funny, all the votes are for trim color have a feeling a bit boring. All my filaments are black, white, or clear. Yeah, I mean, that's how I usually go too, but Soval sent me a bunch of these different colors, so they're brightening up the stream a little bit. I don't know how that affects their material properties. Like, I think it might make them a little bit weaker. Maybe. I don't really know. Okay, so first we gotta load up a speed benchy. So let's do that. Obligatory speed benchy time. Let me just clean up a little bit here before we move on. Oh crap, and this is the other part about these printers is the whole bed leveling. These all have, oh well, the Mingda doesn't have any bed leveling knobs. So that one will be really easy. I'm just gonna basically hit level. So leveling, so it's heating up to level. All right, and 93 out of 50, what? It's saying the bed temperature is 93 out of 50. Which doesn't seem right. Oh wow, it's saying the bed is 93 degrees right now. Is this in Fahrenheit? I think this printer might be in Fahrenheit. Hold on. Okay. Oops. It says the nozzle is 100 and the hot bed is 94. So that's weird. Okay, so, that's very strange. Oh, jeez. Okay, the hot end is not registering any change in temperature, but it is very hot right now, so I can only assume that this printer is defective or I didn't plug everything in correctly. Let's turn that off. But see, let's show you. I mean, that was registering 100 degrees, but if we go up here, we push the filament through. Oh my goodness, the filament is smoking. Did you see that? Okay, so this is probably way overheated. Oh my gosh, the filament is just super liquidy. All right, so not a good start for the Mingda, I would say. Holy cow, yeah, this thing's smoking. All right. So what do you think? Should we keep reviewing the Mingda, or just like set it aside and pretend that it's not about to burn my house down? All right, that's not good. So it's looking like the Elegoo is pulling ahead at this point, just slightly. Get the fire extinguisher, then keep going? Okay. Hold on, let me get the fire extinguisher. Anyone know how to use one of these? You pointed at the top of the fire, right? In fire emergency, pull pin to remove. Well, yeah, of course. I'm gonna cut this little tag off, like, that's just silly. This tag says, in fire emergency, pull pin to remove. Yeah, of course. We don't need you to tell me that. So I'm gonna cut this off because that's just gonna get in the way of an emergency of me pulling this pin out. So there we go. Okay, and then we just pull the lever like that. All right, Mingda, what the heck's going on over here? My disappointment is immeasurable. So I guess this is just an Elegoo review at this point. So let's get to it. Hopefully this one works. We've got a good sign here. If you look at the screen, it's actually registering 24 degrees Celsius, which is probably accurate. All right, so Elegoo winner by technical default. Let's print something with it, though. I forget which one of these came with the Elegoo. I think it was I don't know which one it was. We'll plug them both in. I'm sure the Elegoo can run the Mingda G-code just fine. But first, let's do our bed leveling. So level, operation will return to 0, yeah. Just doing some V-groove wheel tensioning. Well, this machine's nice and quiet. Mingda isn't a micro SD. Okay, good point. Yeah, this is probably for the... Oh, wait, this might be for another printer. Yeah, the Mingda came with an SD card. Oh well, G-code's G-code. Unless it's the cursed G-code I have on my my K1 right now, the 150% extrusion. Well, yeah, the extruder, the hot end wasn't registering the temperature correctly, and it was just getting hotter and hotter, and when I pushed some PLA through it, it started smoking. So that means we're probably looking at like 280 to 300 degrees on that machine, which if it has a PTFE lined hot end is bad news. I'm gonna open a window, be right back. Okay, yeah. So Mingda interface, Mingda stuff, not doing so well. They wanted to send me a larger machine, which I was excited about, but I mean, honestly, it's just, I don't know. I won't say anything too bad, but it's it might work. It's a printer that might work for you if you decide to buy one. Make sure to use my affiliate links to get one today. Never mind the fire hazard and the complete not workingness of it. Just go down there into the description and click those affiliate links. Okay, so ribbon cable is not set on the hot end. Well, it was reading a temperature, and it looks like there's only one way to plug this in. So I'm gonna blame Mingda for this one. I'll get in touch with them and see what's going on with that, because I mean, I'm sure they want me to review their stuff, probably. Well, maybe not at this point. All right, anyways, it looks like it has a mesh already stored. Let's do auxiliary. Okay, so with these printers, it's always good to do the auxiliary bed leveling first. This is going to be like that old school type of bed leveling where you get the piece of paper and it goes down to all the corners and you try it out. So we'll go through and do that, around to that first, and then we'll switch over to doing the mesh bed leveling. So let's see. At least it has a good user interface for doing this auxiliary bed leveling. On which corner I want it to go to, and then it's mostly automated. So not too bad. Also, I like that it's using plastic bed leveling knobs because that reduces weight on the tool head. I mean, on the y-axis. There's no reason to have those blingy metal bed leveling knobs. They're just silly. There's no point. It's just adding weight for no reason. So plastic, small bed leveling knobs is the way to go. All right, does anyone want to see me plug in that Mingda outside and just see what happens when I tell it to start up a print? And everybody knows this is the most entertaining part of a 3D printer build, is the bed leveling procedure. And again, like, I guess it doesn't matter that much how precise you are in this step. You just want to get it in the right ballpark, because you're going to be able to use a mesh bed leveling to make up for any major inconsistencies here. And I think I'm actually going to tighten all of these screws by like a full 3 turns, just to bring the whole bed down a little bit and increase the spring tension. So here goes. All right, 3 full turns tightened. That'll kind of make everything a lot stronger. So let me just do that all around. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. All right, and last one over here. 1, 2, 3. All right, and the bed should automatically compensate, because when I home the printer, it's going to use a inductive probe inside of the little tool head there, and that's going to set the Z offset. And then, of course, I'm going to need to do the Z probe offset calibration, because this isn't physically touching the bed like the Ender, like the K1 and other printer, the Bamboo Lab P1P are doing. All right, et al. All right, I'm going to read through the comments in just a second, but first I'm going to make sure I'm ventilating the room properly after that, you know, that little incident we had. So let's just take this over here. That's my new part cooling fan. I'm gonna install that on one of my machines soon, so. All right, anyways, back to the video. Let's see. Okay, so this should be all good now. Let's set our Z probe offset. Okay, well, I guess it's gonna do its ABL bed mesh leveling now. All right, now I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to go through the comments. So we'll see what everybody's up to. Also, now's a good time to ask any questions that you want me to like go over on this machine. All right, I'm flipping it around. So let me read through the comments here. Are you gonna use that for part cooling? Yeah, I'll set that fan up for part cooling on one of my machines. I'm gonna need to upgrade the main board to be able to run that fan though. I have the K1 Max, love it so far, other than the browser interface. Yeah, Nameon is a K1 Max early adopter. Have you had any failures? New flying board reborn. I've reached out to them to see if I can get one to try out. It looks like a good machine, but I threw their old printer off of a balcony, and I'm not sure if they're going to forgive me for that. But looks interesting. Yeah, Black Friday is coming up. Black Friday is going to be an insane time for buying discounted printers because there's so many printers on the market and there's so many manufacturers that are just like flooding the market with new models that there's going to be huge stockpiles of these printers by then, and there's sure to be some good deals going around. Okay, so now it's doing its bed leveling thing. Now apparently this is a Clipper UI. Like this machine's running full Clipper. I think. And I also think that there's a way to do input shaping on this machine. I'm not sure if they provide you with the materials to be able to do that. Yeah, there's no plugs on here. There's a USB-C and a micro SD port down here, and a USB-A. Then there's a DC output, which is kind of an interesting feature. On the back side, they have a little plug that you can power a DC something or other with. So I could probably run a laser cutter off of the power supply on this machine. Pretty neat. It's a 24 volt, 2.5 amp max plug there. So that's probably just wired directly into the power supply. Yeah, I will get my laptop out and we'll, let's see. All right, so I'm going to get my laptop and set this up on Wi-Fi and check out the Clipper interface as well. So, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up on the stream. I'll at least print out a Benchy and get another print started and check out the Clipper interface before we wrap things up. Then I'm going to have to find a place to dump this Mingda Magician X. I should probably donate it to like an orphanarium so little kids can learn how to do 3D printing or something. Oh, yeah, this, I'm not sure if it has an Ethernet port, actually. Oh yeah, it does. Ethernet port is right here. So I can plug in a network connection if I need to. Alright, so our mesh bed leveling is done. The last step is to set the Z probe offset. Alright, and there we go. That's all done. We'll hit the save button at the top. Save and restart to apply Z offset and leveling data. Confirm. Alright, and we can see the data on our bed mesh there. It's pretty level. I mean, it's basically 0.1 millimeter of variance across the whole bed. So I did a decent job of doing my aux bed leveling. Let's go back to that. Oh. Let's go back to that bed leveling menu just to... Oh, no. Level, yeah, okay. I just want to look at the mesh, so I'm going back into that menu. Uh-oh. Looks like this little plug is maybe coming loose a little bit, so... This one here. There we go. Maybe I didn't plug it in the first place. Okay, so anyways, back to our mesh bed leveling. What do you guys think of that mesh? Looks like we've got negative values in the middle and positive on the side and 0. So I could tighten up the right side screws a little bit to kind of get it more perfect, but overall it's pretty good. And this isn't really going to affect our print quality at all. Save, reset, cancel. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Under settings, language, temperature settings, light control. Ooh, that's got a light. I don't see the light. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's turn the light on. Let's turn that light on. Headlight. Oop. Up there. Pretty nice. Let me turn the overhead lights off. Oops. All right, here's our headlight. Then we've got an observational light, which you can see down there. Overall, that's a really good lighting setup. On a budget machine like this, like normally you don't expect any lights at all, but Elegoo's coming in throwing every light that you could ever want on this thing. So the only downside is it's not RGB lights, so we might have to hold that against them. Fan control. That's just showing off some fans. Now let's enable this fan in the back. It's got a manual switch back there so you can turn it on and off. So let's do the fans again. Pretty cool stuff. Filament detector is on, so I guess in the menu you can easily disable the filament detector, which is cool because some people like to just avoid using it. So if you don't want to use it, you can just disable the filament detector. Like let's say it's throwing errors when you're trying to print. Well, you can just disable it there. So that's nice to see. About machine. Let's see. That's our build area. Pretty sizable machine. I mean, it's like basically an Ender 3, but just a slight bit bigger. Might need to update our firmware. I probably won't do that for this machine though. I'm not sure what this button does. Oh, okay. There's an automatic firmware update button. Ensure that the firmware files are stored in the root directory of the USB drive. So yeah, you update this over USB. Oh, right. That's the thing about this machine is it doesn't have, we don't have Wi-Fi built into it. So I'm gonna have to, right. So I watched a Mandic Really video about this machine, and he was complaining about how he had to go through all this extra work to set up the Wi-Fi on this machine. Well, I don't want to do that, so I've got another workaround though, so I'll be right back. Just grabbing a little thing in the other room. So you can pick up a small wireless router for like maybe 40 bucks. Just a little tiny little Wi-Fi router. They're advertised as a travel router, so this is something you can put in a suitcase or something if you're going on vacation and you want to have a little private Wi-Fi network, then there you go. But these things are small and cheap, and you can just get one for this printer. And look how tiny this is. All right, and it looks like we have USB power. Wow, this thing runs off of USB-C too, so it's really convenient. 5 volts, 3 amps. So we'll get this plugged in. I could probably figure out a way to wire this up so that I can just like get some Velcro and stick this to the printer somewhere. And then, yeah, basically just stick this to the printer somewhere on the back and just Velcro it on there. And I could power it off of that little extra power port back here. It's not ideal, but you know, it'll get the job done. All right, so we'll just power this up. Just for fun, I've got my Anker power bank here, and I'm gonna power this router off of the power bank and see if that works. Yep, seems to be working. Now I just need to log on to this wireless router on my computer, and then I should be able to get on here. All right, I'm waiting for the Wi-Fi to show up. Ooh, okay. The machine just quieted down a little bit. I guess the mainboard fan and stuff decided to shut down. But you can see there's some little Christmas tree colored lights in the bottom of the machine, so cool stuff. Okay, well, while I try to figure this out, I guess I can just start a print in the meantime. It is pretty annoying that the Wi-Fi on this machine doesn't work, but you can't have it all. Alright, let's see what we got. I'm going to plug in this little micro SD card into the little port here. It's in a very inconvenient spot. But let's see if we can get those files to show up. Well, as you can see, this is a fun experience for everyone. The camera was really buggy at the beginning with all the updates. It works good now. Oh, probably talking about another printer. This one doesn't have a camera. Okay, so I can't get any files to show up here, and it's not connecting to Wi-Fi, so good experience so far. 10 out of 10 would 100% recommend going to the affiliate links and buying one right now. Okay, come on. Maybe this is just an empty SD card. I'll try putting something else in here. Ah, there we go. Ah, Neptune 4 assembly tutorial video. I wonder if I can watch it on this screen. No. Okay, so models. Let's do a 3D Benchy. Oof. I'll try the rapid PLA test code, and I'll just find that PLA that it came with. Apparently it was special stuff. Oh, what? I click on this and there's nothing here. Hello? There's no G code that I can read. Okay. Yeah, there's no files in here. What's the idea? Oh, there we go. There's a flower pot. Now, most of these aren't showing up. There's just 2 models that are actually on the card here. So there's a diamond textured planter. It's got a nice little preview here. And nutshell opener, there's nothing there. Tool holder, let's see what that looks like. Huh, okay, this is all the tools for the thingy. That's worth it. Let's print it out. So, 58 minutes. I'll hit confirm. Now I'll just load up my fancy tricolored filament. Okay, now let's talk about the features on this machine. So, we've got clipper, direct drive, excellent part cooling, nice lights. The build looks good. It's got a really clean user interface, other than the provided models not showing up on there. Not sure what that's about. But yeah, overall, seems like a pretty solid machine. Let's see if it prints. I would like to see them move to a print bed that doesn't have these bed leveling knobs. I'm not sure what would be involved with that, but it just seems like since you have bed leveling on here, and most printers are getting away without using automatic bed leveling, it would be nice to see. Some other features that we've got on here are dual lead screws on the Z-axis, 1 and 2. They're synchronized with a belt up top, and they're using really sleek, slim, either aluminum or steel pieces for everything. So overall, looks great, should print great. We'll find out soon enough. So right now it's just heating up the heated bed. We're almost up to temperature, and now we're heating up the extruder. And you can hear the fans, they're not too loud. And I'm gonna lower everything down so I can be lazy and sit and read the comments on the back of the phone. So here we go. Oh my gosh, this table goes pretty far down. Okay. I was not expecting that. So I gotta lower everything down here. All right, now I'm gonna participate in the chat. So any questions or whatever, I'll be reading questions from the chat for a good 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I need to throw an affiliate link in the description, don't I? It's on Amazon, FlexiSpot. I mean, it's designed to flex on people. They even named the company that way. It's FlexiSpot. Wow, this thing's quiet though. It's printing now. Well, there's a benchy model in the on the file, but it wasn't showing up as an option to print. And who cares about how fast it can print a benchy? You know? I guess everybody does. But, like, in all reality, how long do you think it takes to print a benchy? I bet it can print a benchy in under 20 minutes. And it'll probably look great. So, what's the point in going into any further detail than that? Oh no, someone's requesting me to stop flexing. Well, sorry. We're gonna flex a little bit more. Here goes. One button operation. See, I just touch the button and tell it to go to sitting height, and it automatically raises itself up to a nice seated position. Wow. I need to drop some affiliate links on everyone right now. Yeah, so the flying bear, I just threw it off my balcony. It's not too complicated. I just didn't want it anymore, so I threw it. FPS is low. Yeah, I don't know. The stream quality can vary because I'm streaming it on Wi-Fi. But let's take a look. I mean, when the fans kick on, this thing's going to be kind of loud, I assume. But right now, it's just doing. It's just doing the first layer without any fans, and this thing's impressively quiet. What do you think of those colors? This is some awesome filament. Okay, so now we've got our fans kicking on. Still not too loud. I mean, you're like a foot away from the printer right here. So what do you guys think? Should I become an Elegoo shill? This printer seems pretty nice. Yeah, this is definitely quieter than the K1. This is quieter than the K1 with the door closed. It's probably about the same as, it's probably a little bit louder than the K1 Max with the door closed, because the K1 Max is pretty exceptionally quiet for how big of a machine it is. Everything's sealed up pretty good, and they turned down the fan speeds a little bit. Yep, gotta pay bills. Shill printers. Should only recommend printers you like. I like this printer. So go into the video description and buy one. Can you test the other printer outside? I'll have to think about that one, because I think it's gonna catch on fire. Like, it's uncontrolled thermal runaway, putting 40 watts into a small little area. That can only go on for so long before things catch on fire. Yeah, so that's the thing about these bed leveling coolers. Like this whole layer, it's turned off right now. I can toggle it on and off. The way that, see if I turn it on, now it's a lot louder. But I don't think I need it. There's very rare situations where you're gonna need all that part cooling capacity. And really it's just a pissing contest. Like, everyone wants to be like, oh, I can print a benchy in 15 minutes. Oh, I can do it in 14 minutes. Well, nobody cares. I hate to break it to you, but nobody cares how fast you can print a benchy. Every machine nowadays can print a benchy in under 20 minutes, which is very impressive. But do we need to be doing that all the time? All right, shill the printers. All right, well, in that case, this is the best printer I've ever tested. This is the printer that I would recommend anyone get. I would recommend it to my family and friends and my pets. It will print for you without fail for years on end. And it's simply the best printer I've ever seen. But in all seriousness, it is a pretty good printer. I mean, check it out. It just starts up, you print with it. I would probably recommend it over an Ender 3. You know, that's saying a lot. All right, you're getting your dog an Elegoo. Nice. See, we got to tap into those untouched markets. Nobody's buying printers for their pets yet, but I have some printers coming up that I think would be perfect for a dog or a cat. If we look at this little strand of filament on the purge line, it's blue. So they were testing this machine out before they sent it to me. I don't know if that's a special reviewer privilege option, or maybe they do that with all their machines. really it's the least they can do to make sure that the hot end works. Like, it's really easy to test that kind of stuff at a factory. And if there's any issues, you can just fix it right there. So, yep. I'm gonna try to get a close-up with my camera. The real camera. I'm sorry, I don't mean to flex, but I need to lower the table a little bit so that the camera can see what's going on there. So if I just press this button over here, you can lower the table a little bit, and we can try and get that perfectly in line there. So here's our old point of view, and I'll zoom in. And we'll zoom in even more. And then we'll lower the table a little bit. And there we go. That's the angle that you're going to see on YouTube. I can turn on my extra fancy... Oh, I'm recording. I need to refocus this. That's good. That'll do. I don't know if this is a good view at all, but... I mean, this isn't Hollywood. Why would you recommend this over the K1, which is now improved? Well, for starters, I didn't have to do anything to this machine to get it to work the way it's working now. I know a lot of people have had a lot of success with their K1s, but the main feature that this one has is it's cheap. It's inexpensive, which is like a really good feature. It's one of the best features on a 3D printer. This costs about half as much as a K1, so if you're looking for value, this is a good option. Also, I'm gonna do another video about this, but let me get the K1 hot end. I'm not the biggest fan of it. So, for those of you who missed it at the start of the stream, I was talking about how my K1 got all messed up. If you go onto TikTok, you can see my video. I'll probably post it on my YouTube channel in a bit, but basically, okay. Well, I gotta explain the whole situation now. So let me get all the parts I need to tell the story. Alright, if you could choose between one printer, not regarding price, which would it be? Neptune 4, K Max, or Bamboo? Ooh, that's a tough choice. I I just got started with this printer and I haven't seen the print quality yet, so I would have a hard time recommending this one at this point, but let me print a couple things out first. In terms of, man, that's a tough choice. Because they all have their own issues. Like this one, its Wi-Fi doesn't actually work. Like, it would be nice if this was just, you know, it's a Clipper-enabled machine. It would be nice if I could just log into Wi-Fi with it and use that awesome Clipper web interface. But that's not working. On the K1, they've been going through some major teething with their hot end and extruder designs. So I guess the only one that's reliable at this point is the that has all the features and works well would be the P1S. Also, if you want to get the AMS, I mean, then you're talking about like a $950 printer plus shipping, so it's like $1,000 to get the P1S AMS. I mean, that's one of the better printers on the market, but then there's the privacy thing and the proprietary firmware on Bamboo Lab. So I don't know. I'm a bit of a fence sitter on this one, on this issue. Because I guess what I didn't like about Bamboo Lab is they're advertising it as like a printer for using engineering grade. They're talking about how like, oh, you can print carbon fiber reinforced nylon parts and all this kind of stuff. And to me, that puts it in an engineering market. But at the same time, they have a privacy policy that goes completely against any type of common sense if you're developing something in an engineering type application. So it kind of reeked of a honeypot where they just want you to print proprietary information on there and get it exported out of the country. So that's just where I'm coming from. I think it's kind of suspicious the way that they marketed that machine. If they marketed it as just like something that is easy to use and like is good for beginners that are getting into 3D printing, or you know, if you would just want to do multicolored prints and have fun with it and make toys and stuff, then I would be like, okay, yeah, sure. But going for that engineering grade material market, I think is a little bit sus to me. So Bamboo Lab are working on a enterprise style printer that's going to have no cloud connectivity, that's going to have the option to run on a completely local network and cloud, like local cloud infrastructure, which I think is a really smart move because really that's the only thing I have to complain about with that machine. But yeah, so here's my K1 issue right now. So it started with a extruder that was unreliable. The little extruder arms would pop loose and it's just kind of not super, wasn't ready for prime time. And this was on like a very early model. This was before they even had their units that they were selling. They sent this over to me. So I reviewed it and I thought it was pretty good, but I'm like, the under extrusion might be an issue. But we'll see how it bakes out. And we'll see how everything plays out. They ended up going through a bunch of revisions with this extruder. Right now, I think is revision 4, according to what someone had to say. And I believe that number because they've offered me several extruder upgrades over the last couple of months. And I think this last one that they've sent out is finally going to address the core issue, which is that these screws can come loose, and then the extruder isn't clamping down with enough force, and there might be some other tolerancing and other issues in there. So overall, it's just a design that requires more manufacturing precision than Creality is putting into it. Like, sure, you can have these really compact, efficient designs, but the smaller you make things, the more precise you have to be, and you also have to step up your quality control because it's requiring a higher level of precision to get a working design. All the other extruders on the market, virtually every extruder you look at is using a spring to apply tension to those little wheels. what this extruder is doing, which was copied from the LGX type designs from Bondtech, is they're using a physical distance. You know, they're spacing the axle out a certain amount, and that's providing the tension. There's no physical spring in there. It's just setting the width correctly, and then the inherent springiness of the design. Something that you learn in mechanical engineering and mechanics of materials is that everything acts like a spring at different scales. So just the inherent springiness of the design is what's providing the tension. Instead of having like a big spring, you're having a very stiff mechanism with very tight position controls to get the right amount of clamping on the filament. But in order to pull this off, you have to use very precise manufacturing methods. I think Bondtech have a very good understanding of how to do that. So this works for Bondtech. You know, they don't have any springs in this design, and they're able to have one of the nicest extruders on the market with no springs. Well, Creality stepped up to the plate and tried to do that, and they've been stumbling a little bit in terms of getting a working design. Give me a clapped out Ender 3 with a pick any day, tinker tinker. All right. Internet is acting up, so I'll catch the replay. All right, thank you, John. My K1 right now is broken, and it's a long story. So, anyways, the extruder was crap at launch, so I replaced it with this extruder. And that brings me to another issue, is that the firmware on the K1 is pretty locked down, so there was no way for me to update the E-steps per millimeter to get this new extruder to extrude the right amount of plastic. It was constantly under extruding because basically you had to change the E-steps to get this to work properly. So in order to get around that and not having the ability to change E-steps in the K1's firmware, I just turned up the flow rate on my slicer. So I set the slicer to 154%, which is what I calculated to be just the right amount to get this to work. And it printed just fine. Everything was working great. And then Creality finally was like, you know what? We finally have a new extruder for you. So they sent me a new extruder. That's the one with the steel arms that I've made a couple of videos about. And that one is very reliable. So I'm like, all right, cool. I printed out a test print on this one, and the quality wasn't super great. But now that I have the new Creality upgraded extruder in there, why don't I just print the same file out again and see how the quality improved? Yeah, I'm getting there, YouTube Adrian. So I'm like, okay, let me just print this. I have it down here. So I was like, okay, let me just print this thing out again. I already have the G-code on the machine. Now that I have the new extruder on, let me just hit play and we'll see what comes out. Well, this is what came out. Since I had turned the flow rate up to 150% and then replaced this extruder with their stock design, now instead of that 154% correcting everything and making sure I get the right amount of extrusion, now with this extruder, it was over extruding by 154% for every print move. So the result of that was that it was laying down way too much plastic. And as you can see, this is just like a ridiculously over extruded model. And it got to the point where the extruder was just ramming into, the hot end was just ramming into these giant piles of plastic that were building up because I'm massively over extruding. So that basically broke the extruder. So, I mean, it didn't break the extruder, it broke the hot end. So here's the hot end. And that's because it was just like mashing back and forth and running into all of this stuff, and it broke. And it broke. So, yeah, 100% user error. However, I think we wouldn't have the same failure method. We wouldn't have the same failure mode on a Bamboo Lab printer, because with the Bamboo Lab hot end design, they've completely gotten rid of, well, I don't know, they didn't get rid of issues with the heat break, but they've made this interface a lot smarter. with the K1, it's built like this. Well, actually, I'll show you this one. This is the newest design of the hot end, but it's got this little ceramic heater right here. Hello, right there. Okay, and it's got this brass machined piece with some thermal paste on there, and they put the heater on. And then there's a black piece up top that screws onto these really fine pitched threads there. But let's just take this off and just look at this piece. So what we have here is a pretty traditional hot end design. This is just, you know, this was our aluminum block, this brass piece. That's this flange down here and this shaft. That's basically what our aluminum block was before. And then inside of that, you have the nozzle, which goes up to about where the threads start. And then you have the heat break, which clamps up against that nozzle. So internally, you have those two faces pinched together, and that's what's preventing filament leakage or plastic leakage. If you go over to what happened here, when this started, I took the nozzle out. It was actually unscrewed to this point. So it was unscrewed this much, and then I unscrewed it the rest of the way. But you can see it had basically, you know, it started out like this, and it backed out to this point just from like mashing into all that over extruded plastic mess. So yeah, as soon as this starts backing out, then you lose that seal between the nozzle and the heat break that's inside of there. Anything that bumps this can back this out and loosen it and cause issues. So it's kind of an inherently flawed design. I don't know why Creality can't get their shit together and just copy Bamboo Lab, because this is just a really elegant design here. This is a very good design for a hot end because it eliminates that point of failure. There's no nozzle being pressed up against the heat break, which itself has a bunch of press fit components inside of it. It's just simple elegance right here. The Creality design has like just one glaring failure point, which all printers have. Virtually all printers that I've tested that use a traditional style heater block are like that. So it's one of those things where I think Bamboo Lab have done a really good job of coming up with something that is much more failure proof. Like the failure mode on this is it'll bend this and it'll still be able to extrude plastic and it won't compromise the seals. Versus the failure mode on virtually all the older hot ends that we've been working with is to start leaking plastic like this, which can cause a ton of damage to your electronics and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend Creality start copying this. Basically figure out how they're doing this. I mean, I could draw up a CAD drawing of this in no time and get it produced. Because it's really easy to reverse engineer something like this. You just have to make sure that you get the tolerances right for those press fits. But anyways, this is much cheaper to manufacture and has a more reliable type of interfaces between the parts. And I've seen a video where someone takes this hot end, I've seen a video where someone takes this hot end and puts it on a K1, so I might try that out. This isn't really that much of an issue as long as you don't do some major user error type stuff like this. But it is more assuring knowing that this has a safer failure mode. So, yeah. All right, and to the people that say just use LAN only mode, you can't audit their software or firmware because it's closed source, and you don't know what they're sending back to Bamboo Lab. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't just that's not going to pass a cybersecurity test until you can figure out exactly what's going on inside of the printer. So I think the best thing to do is to just run everything air-gapped. I mean, running things off of flash drives is probably one of the more secure ways to do things. Yeah, these are 3D printers are getting to the point where they're basically little laptop computers, essentially. So they're running Linux, and they can do, you know, you can, there's all sorts of ways that they can send information over the internet. So, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Kadim Namimian. Yeah. The that's just a failure mode that sucks that we've been having to deal with for the last 12 years. But it looks like we've got a better option now, so people should start adopting this type of design instead of using a bunch of threaded components being you know, clamped together just on the threading force, but if anything bumps this and knocks it loose, then it starts leaking. Like, that's just not reliable. Or rather, it is reliable, it's just it has a failure mode that I'd rather eliminate. Okay, so rant over. This print's going along pretty good. AliExpress has a bunch of clones of bamboo hot end that just fit normal CR10 mount. Okay, that's cool. I would look into using that. I mean, just integrating this into a single piece would be ideal, I think. I think Creality could make a single piece design of this exact same hot end, because all they have to do is get rid of the threads on this bimetallic heat break, get rid of the threads on the nozzle, and just press fit those components into both ends of this brass piece. And then if you need to replace anything, you can take off the heater coil, replace this whole assembly, single piece thing, so that there's no chance of it leaking, and then put the new thing on and then install it into the printer. I mean, threaded components are not meant to seal. That's the main thing. It's like we've been using threaded components to seal things, and that's just not appropriate. So that's my mechanical engineering rant of the day. There are sealing threads, like you'll see them on pipe fittings for pneumatic and hydraulic and water applications, and they'll have they have tapered threads. They're called NPT threads, and if you have a tapered thread and you throw some Teflon tape in there and you tighten everything up, it forms a really good seal. But straight cut threads, like what you see on all of these hot ends, are not suitable for forming a seal. So, yeah. I guess rant isn't over because I still want to rant about this. But, I mean, there's too much of this just reusing the old principles for new designs that Creality is guilty of, Elegoo is guilty of. I mean, Elegoo is basically just making an Ender 3, but better. Like, they're just refining the design. But Bamboo Lab is the only company that's like actually, you know, like, well, let's just start from nothing and see what we build and be smart about this. So I really, this is just with regards to this hot end design. I think it's really good, and other companies should adopt the practices that they've developed there. Your Linux concerned, these new printers running Clipper are running default password and they don't prompt you to change the password, then people put them on networks. Security issue triggered. Fair enough. They're full-on Linux computers. Yeah, I guess that's an issue too. I tend to trust a printer if I install the, like if I install a Raspberry Pi and I know what I've installed on the machine and I don't install third-party random stuff, then I can tend to trust the machine. I guess these ones, since they're coming with all the stuff pre-installed, you don't know what kind of other things they've included on that Linux installation. Oh yeah, the other thing about Bamboo Lab is, at least with the P1P and P1S, in order to log into your Wi-Fi network, you have to download the app and create an account and agree to the terms of service and enter your Wi-Fi information into the app. Like, it's a lot of steps that, and your phone is always connected to the internet. So now you have an app that's running on your phone that's always connected to the internet that can communicate with your printer. So that's like a huge gaping security hole there. With my K1 and K1 Max, I run them on a internetless network, and they're never able to communicate with something that is also connected to the internet. So, you know, there's different approaches you can take to manage security. I don't think most of these desktop home 3D printers are really that secure. But let's see how our print is doing. Woo! I love those colors. There you go. Only issue is that really Creality's wire connections are not located as well as Bamboo's. Bamboo Lab has connections on the front. When you swapped the K1 nozzle the other day, it looked like more of a pain in the ass. Yeah, it was a little bit of a pain in the ass. Also, if you have this issue where you get like these major gummed up nozzles, that can extrude outwards and make contact with the electronics and just kind of destroy the PCB. And yeah, it's not good. All right, who's ready to see this printer go faster? I'm gonna turn up the speed here. It says 200 millimeters per second. I'm sure we can go twice that. All right, we're at 150% speed, 155. Let's see how fast we can go. I'll stop at 175. So now we're running at 350 millimeters a second. Sorry if you couldn't see that. Now we're running at 175% speed. Really just cranking this up. We've got to make up for the lower speed. Since we only have one working printer, we have to print twice as fast with it. Meanwhile, the Mingda is doing great over there. All right, what should this Mingda's fate be? I have no need for a printer that doesn't work, so maybe I should just gut it for its stepper motors and throw the whole thing in the trash. Still thinking about that. Print with it outside. Window, balcony. How's the touchscreen? The touchscreen's nice. It's very responsive and the UI is like very easy to understand. I mean, look, you got the buttons. I just turned the lights off. I mean, it didn't do these commands instantly, but I think they're executed as G-code commands. So they kind of get inserted into the stream of whatever's going on. Yeah, touchscreen's really good on this thing. I'm reviewing a Sovol machine with Clipper on it. I think it's called the SV07. And that one has a crazy screen. Like it's like I'm using a touchscreen laptop. It's got so many buttons and options, and the text is like really small. It's a little more confusing to use than this one. This one's like really dumbified and very easy to understand and use. Set it on fire. For the price, it has a lot of parts that are good. I don't understand how, like, why are companies sending me printers that don't work? I can understand sending like normal customers things that don't work, but I'm making YouTube videos about these, and it's going to be obvious that the printer is lacking in quality control as soon as I turn it on, if it just throws out an overheating error. Oh. All right, so who wants to guess how many 3D printers I have to make videos on? Not counting these two. Ah, 32. Yes, no. Actually, it's not too many. It's only, I think, 4. I've been a lot more picky about what printers I feature because, I don't know. It's just kind of a waste of time to get a printer like that. All right, I have to apologize to Mingda. It's not their fault that their printer doesn't work. I also have some other machines. I've got this giant laser cutter on the floor. This thing. So, yes. Why don't you take all the printers and give them away? Because tax reasons. If I gift them to someone, then I have to, you know, if I dispose of them, then I don't have to, I don't know. Hopefully you can understand. Did you drop the Mingda? No, I didn't. I just took it out of the box and fired it up. And that's what we get. Yeah. The only sure way to not have to, I believe, I'm not a tax expert here, but the only sure way to be able to get rid of stuff is to dispose of it, which is what I do with most of my printers. What Mingda and laser cutter? The Mingda's probably a bigger fire hazard than the laser cutter. So what do you think? Is anyone impressed with this Mingda? No, not Mingda. Nobody's impressed with that. Is anyone impressed with this Elegoo Neptune 4? This isn't even the Pro Edition. I personally wouldn't get the Pro Edition because it doesn't have any substantial upgrades over this printer. The only upgrades are that it's using steel rails, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of those steel rails. People can pay for shipping and you can get more subscribers. I don't know about that. Yes. I'm very impressed with the Mingda. It's an impressive machine. I mean, so far this Elegoo is acing its tests. Ooh. I have a laptop that I could plug directly into that that network. Oh yeah, I was gonna get that set up. Let's see. Let's try and get that web interface going. Oh no. I'm running out of battery on my camera. No. Right, so you get to deduct the value of the item, but you also have to, I guess, technically, when you get an item from someone, it has value, you know? Like, you can't just give someone a $30,000 car and not pay taxes on it. Yeah, check out Linus's video. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure he explains it in a way that makes sense. So for me, it's just easier for me to like throw them off of a balcony, crush them in an industrial crushing machine. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't sell it for a penny. It's not about sales tax. Well, I don't want to get into this right now, but just you should know that it's not. There's reasons why people don't do it. That's the short story. So VMJR, I'm wanting to build my own 3D printer. So I've been, working on some plans for that, and it's a bit of a private project. I'll share, what I'm working on at some point, but I want to make sure that it's done in the right way. I'm not one of these open source absolutists. Is the K1 fix difficult? No, I don't think it will be. I just need to replace the hot end. See, I removed the old hot end and I'm gonna put the new one in. So it should only take 20 minutes, but it's just something I don't want to get started on because I mean, I guess I can make a video about it. I'll do it eventually. Probably sometime in maybe 2 weeks, I'll have some time to do it. Yeah, well, I'll make the first one. So that one will be made in USA. We'll see what it ends up being. I think there's a lot of challenges in slicer software and to be able to increase print speeds and stuff, so. So this is printing at 175%. I'll just go all the way up to 200%. Oh gosh, I overshot. All right, 204%. This thing's cooking now. It's probably acceleration limited at this point. I like bed slinger designs. There's just so much simpler, easier to maintain and modify, cheaper to build. If Creality gets rid of the hot ends and extruder they are selling, where can you buy replacements? Also non-electronic ones like the glass door. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be aftermarket parts coming out. That's one of those suspicions that I would. I'm pretty sure. Let's just leave it at that. Someone's gonna be coming out with something for it. But even if Creality went out of business, which they're not going to, someone would pick up that production line and make those parts, because one of the advantages of getting a Creality machine over something like an Elegoo or a Mingda is Creality has such a massive market share that you're pretty much always going to be able to have spare parts because there's going to be a big enough market to produce those spare parts. Just like with Bamboo Lab machines at this point, even if Bamboo Lab went out of business, people would be able to produce spares for it. Maybe not the electronics. You might have to do some gutting and reprogramming of the electronics if Bamboo were to just completely disappear overnight. But, I mean, the mechanical parts are just parts. Anyone can make them. Oh, yeah, for my printer? Well, it would have at least two high-end extruder hot ends on it. So, I mean, even if it was just one extruder and one hot end, I'd want to use something that's like really high quality. So, I don't know yet. I don't think there's much of a market. There's not much of a market for a low-cost printer. It would have to be something like the market is so crowded. Like, look what you can get for $260. This is just like an insane bed slinger that you can hook up to Wi-Fi, which I've just done it. So I just got on the network here. So I'm gonna try and connect to this printer. As soon as this print is done, I'm gonna log into that Clipper interface. But you can get a clipperized bed slinger for under $300. So that's pretty crazy. And if you get a, let's see, you can get a fully enclosed high-speed 3D printer like a a K1 or a Bamboo Lab P1P for 700 bucks. That's really not that expensive, and it's hard to make something for that cheap, especially if you're doing low volume, and especially if you're making it in America. So, yeah, there's too much market competition there. Any printer that I'm gonna produce is gonna be like for niche applications. It's not gonna be just like a general purpose machine like these are. Usually the plus versions are 300 by 300. But I could see them doing 310 by 310 because they're squeezing every usable millimeter out of this bed. So maybe they'll do 310 by 310. 320 by 320 is a possibility, but you'd have to program that yourself and unlock that extra space in the firmware. But when you're printing that close to the edge of the print bed, you end up having issues anyways, just because there's like a thermal gradient there. So yeah, with the Neptune 4 Pro, I imagine it's a little bit louder because it's got the metal wheels. So personally, I would just get the Neptune 4 because you're saving money and it has all the same features. I would buy the Neptune 4 Pro if it had a working Wi-Fi module, but it doesn't. It just has the metal wheel upgrade and maybe something else, I'm not sure. But I think this one has an all-metal hot end. It's got the direct drive extruder. It's got all the lights. It's got the clipper. Like, it's got all the I/O on the front here. Like, it's got the same screen. I don't think they differentiated the products enough. But that's good because that means if you want to spend a little extra and get the Pro, then you can. But if you just want to get the cheapo version, then you're not missing out on much. Neptune 3 Plus is 320. Okay, well then the 4 Plus will probably be 320 as well then. That'd be a cool little upgrade. Ooh, Pro has a segmented heat bed, so oh yeah, you can save some money on electricity. I have free electricity where I'm at, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I'm not sure when that's going to come out. I know there is. I'll give you guys a hint. There is a plus version, a plus or a max version of a printer coming out within the next like month or so. So you won't have to wait too long if you really want a big bed slinger. Yeah, free energy. I just have to pay rent. How often do you think you'll need to fix the K1, e.g. replacing hot end if I buy their latest version? I don't know. I mean, whenever you have a failure like this, it kind of makes you lose faith in a design. And I've seen this same issue on a lot of other people's printers because, you know, the nozzle's bumping into things. It's like going bump, bump, bump. It contacts plastic for a living, so it has to touch things. And those vibrations and impacts can work the nozzle loose. And when it comes loose, this is what happens. So it's something that they need to work on. Bamboo Lab is very smart about what they've done here, where it's just like a spring-loaded thing that bounces around. What's the KLP1 V2? Is that the King Rune CoreXY? I can't tell you if it's a Neptune 4 Max. I can tell you, though, that I can't tell you. So, oh yeah, this is a new nozzle. This is a bimetallic. Let me zoom in on it. Yeah. So this is a bimetallic bimetallic nozzle by Creality. Ender 3, new Ender 3 is coming out. Oh, really? I'll have to do a video on that. Do you have a source on that, Nameon? New Ender 3? Ender Extender, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's worth the effort to me. Because you can get a Cobra Max or a Neptune 3 Max that are like over 400 millimeters. Oh, nice. LTX Expo, that sounds fun. I would go, but I've already been going to enough events lately. New Ender, look at all 3DP. Okay, I'll check it out. I will tell you that you know, I know some things about that new Ender, but we'll see what they're posting about it. Yeah, it didn't have enough boron nitride, that's for sure. So what, shoot, my phone is running the streaming thing. What can you guys tell me about the new Ender? Oh, Bamboo Lab is going to be there? Yeah, Bamboo Lab has some deep pockets if they're able to afford an LTX. Anyone who's... This is my policy on things now. If any company advertises their products on Linus Tech Tips, I'm instantly going to be asking $1,000 for them to feature their products on my channel. Because I know they're paying a lot of money to get on Linus Tech Tips. So... Does that make me a bad person? I don't think so. Ender 3v3 SE. I'm not sure if I can click on that link without it interrupting the stream. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna see what happens. Did that go black for a minute? The Nathan Builds Robots Discord, of course. Okay, yeah, I can't read it right now then. So we're just gonna have to, I'm just gonna have to listen to what you guys have to say about it. Oh yeah, Nameon, if you share it in the general Discord, then people can join up and check it out. So what's everyone think of this machine? Is anyone gonna be buying this? So I just turned the fan down to 25%, and activated the big wide area fan. And I think that combination together is a little bit quieter. We'll see if it provides enough part cooling though. And the problem with CoreXY is the belt pathing is atrocious. Like these, the belt pathing is a straight line. It's just it's one bearing and one stepper motor. So it's like really simple to work on these and replace parts and set the tension correctly. Pretty colors. I need to start shilling this filament. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm on the bad list for Bamboo Lab. They don't talk to me. And they don't send me free printers. So, anymore. Oh yeah, the P1S, that thing's great. It's a super nice printer. All right, there we go. It's all done. This filament is all crazy colors. Looks good to me. I'm not sure where this is supposed to go. Like, I assume it latches onto something. All right, let's see. Where is this supposed to go? I assume it has to attach somewhere on here. It kind of snaps in there. Okay, well, that was fun. So let's do a vote. Which one won the 3D printing contest, at least for the initial print? The Elegoo or the Mingda? There's a little bit of these like bumps, these little bump artifacts, but those only showed up after I turned the speed up to 200%. So really good results for such a fast print. Yeah, Mingda. All right. I think Mingda won it too. Definitely more entertaining. So mounted on the top is a tool holder. But where though? Is this supposed to attach up here somewhere? Do I just put it on the table? You set it right there? I don't know. Lots of questions remain unanswered here. All right, I'm going to switch over to my computer and see if I can log into this on the web interface. So, let's see. All right. Okay, there's the IP address. So I'll type that in on my computer. All right, and that pulled up a fluid dashboard. So, Elegoo Neptune 4. All right, so this is what we got. You can see the heated bed actually has some decent fluctuations in it. We can probably change that to improve it, but it looks like it bounces between 58 and 62.5 degrees. So there's like a 4.5 Celsius fluctuation. You can see the lumpiness in that sine wave. Super fast vase mode thing. Okay. So yeah, this is just pretty much stock fluid clipper interface here. Oh, interesting. You can see they tested this before they sent it to me. They ran all sorts of test prints on here. Or, is that what that means? No, history. Yeah, history. I don't know what these are. Anyone have any ideas what these print jobs are? They're really small. They're only 1 megabyte. So maybe it's like some kind of bed square thing. Very interesting. So yeah, I'll upload a job to this and get started. This is really cool to see that they're just using a standard fluid interface. Unlike what's going on the K1, they're trying to do their own Creality clipper thing and it just ends up being kind of dumb. All right, so I'm gonna slice up something and send it over to the machine. I'll see if I've got a bench mode thing here. Vase mode. Or you know what, vase mode's kind of boring. Vase mode's good for demonstrating high flow rates with low, accelerations, versus standard printing is sped up when you use high accelerations. So let me give this a try. I'm gonna see if I can print using my K1 configuration on this machine. So here's my my channel logo we're gonna print out. Let's see, export G code. And then we'll get that going. So this is the K1 profile. And let's upload it. Benchies are so basic though. All right, so now I'm loaded up using my fast K1 profile, and we'll give this a print. The printer starts up right away. Looks like we're gonna get started real soon here. One thing I'm gonna do is check on the acceleration settings of this machine. So it looks like it's got some pressure advance tunings. Here's our acceleration, 5,000. That's pretty respectable for a bed slinger. I mean, that's what your standard profiles on the K1 and Bamboo Lab printers are using. They limit themselves to 5,000 accelerations. So, you know, this thing should be just as fast. This should be a 30-minute print. So what about that racetrack vase mode I want to see in a lot of vids? That's a dumb print. Nobody prints stuff like that in reality. I feel like it's gonna... I don't feel like saying Mingda. I feel like someone's gonna get mad if I do. Are you in the UK? XYZ cube 500 millimeters a second. Yeah, Elegoo gets a +1 for making sure that YouTube gets a good product. I mean, that's what you really should be doing. Is the Mingda Cliprise 2? No, it's not. It's running probably some form of, what's that really basic firmware that nobody uses unless they're not cool? I'm just kidding. It's probably running some version of Marlin. Clipper's all the rage these days, though. Yeah. It sure does sound like that, doesn't it? When I can't think of something practical to print, I usually print some boron parts, yeah. For when I get around to it. You mean when you finally get around to building a boron? Let's see, first layers are looking really good. I did my bed offset correctly. I mean, this machine is super quiet. I like machines that are quiet. I could probably put a couple mods in here to make it even quieter too. Because it sounds like a lot of that noise is coming from this hot end fan. And for certain prints that you can get away without using, like if, you know, those blower stepper motors, what do I call them? The blower smoothers that I made, the fan PWM smoother thingies. I should probably get back to making those and turn it into a product. Because I think it's cool, being able to make your blower fans quieter. Yeah, Mingda is a slur somewhere. Oh, weird. The printer interface over here is not active. So it's not telling me the status of the print job because I started it through our Clipper interface. So I guess if you start something over Clipper, then you just have to control it over Clipper. So for any changes in speed and acceleration, we'll do it through here. But look at that first layer. How thick is the bed? I don't know. Does it matter? I'm just kidding. I'm here to answer all of your frivolous questions. It's probably the same as a regular Ender 3 bed. I can't measure it because it's moving a lot right now. But it's like 5 millimeters for everything. Then maybe like a 0.5 millimeter for the... Yeah. Creality's gonna have some tough competition. I mean, if this is what Elegoo's coming out with, Creality's doing their new Ender 3. Is it gonna be better than this? What do you guys think? I think it has a stock input shaper profile built into the printer, which is kind of what Prusso was saying that we're gonna do. I'm not sure. I have no idea, so I shouldn't really say. But since it is Clipper, you should be able to get like your own accelerometer and plug it in and do those readings if you wanted to. Personally, I think input shaper is overrated. I mean, just look at this. Is there huge ringing on here that you're concerned about? All right, so do you guys think I should turn up the speeds and accelerations here? If so, how much? All right, so let's speed it up. 600. And then acceleration. Let's do 7,000. XL to decel, 4,000. Speed, 150. This is already going as fast as my K1. Now it's going faster than a K1. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. Just heads up. Also, let's turn these accelerations up to 10,000. Here's the speeds. 300 to, 750. For travel moves, it's probably going up to 750. Now it's doing some bridging. But you can see the the print quality is suffering. Especially on the infill. Because in the profile that I'm using, the infill is printing at here's the profile that I'm using. So everything has been multiplied by 2. Or, let's see, 150%. So perimeters are going at, you know, I mean, there's all the numbers. So 150% of that is what we're printing at. The infill, I guess, is where it's starting to show some issues. I think I need to turn the temperature up a little bit. So I'm gonna set the extruder to 240. So we just turn that up to 240. Right now it's doing this bridging layer because, you know, after you print infill, you have to bridge over the top. But we'll see how it does. That'll be printing at like 300 for most features, and then 375 for the perimeters, the internal perimeters. So 375, is that fast enough for you with 10K accelerations? How much more speed do you need? When's the last time you worked on a robot that's not a 3D printer? I don't know. Make the Mingda go so fast it falls apart. I mean, it's already broken. I mean, it really looks like Elegoo puts a lot of work into their designs. Like, they make sure that it's as optimized as possible. There's really no obvious areas where they can improve it. I guess that's the advantage of being the second mover on the market. Or, you know, just putting more time into your designs before you release them. All right, now after these horrendously slow layers, we're gonna get back to some speed printing. Speed. Can you speed up on Bamboo and K1 without Clipper? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure how to speed up the K1 at this point. They need to, Creality needs to just get it over onto Clipper. They just need to port it and let people run actual Clipper on there instead of their bastardized version, which has a bunch of removed features. It'll be a lot more stable, I think, and more reliable. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, on the Bamboo Lab machines, you can choose different speed settings. I mean, what would you rather get? This or a Prusa Mark IV? Volumetric flow rates, you can see there. It's doing some slower moves right now, but it was going up to 10 cubic millimeters a second. 9.1, 15. 14. So they've got a pretty decent extruder and hot end combo on here. It's able to keep up. All right, thanks. It's simple, it's actually quite simple, actually. Yeah, so this comes stock with Clipper. And it's $260. Links in the description. Yeah, that's true. There's so much FOMO going on. That's what the whole 3D printer market is built on. That's what YouTube is designed to do. It's designed to give you FOMO. Be like, "Oh no, I need to get a new printer." The truth is you should just get a good printer and use it and have fun. No FOMO. The accelerations reset themselves back to 5,000 because they probably changed the accelerations when it was doing some bridging operations. So we're back to 5,000 acceleration. But that's what most machines run at, even if they're advertising 10K accelerations. Like, the truth is that they don't actually run as fast as their sticker claimed stuff. Elegoo Neptune 4 versus Creality K1. Oh, yeah. I like this more than the K1, personally, because it's cheaper. And it's using, like, there's a lot of crazy experimental stuff Creality is doing. They're, like, really trying to reinvent themselves. I think they're almost trying a little bit too hard. But, you know, the K1 Max, I'm definitely going to have some fun time printing things on there. I haven't got around to actually printing things in a while, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I want to start doing some, like, ABS, polycarbonate, carbon fiber nylon, and all that kind of stuff. But I just haven't had the time to do it yet, because I got all these printers piling up on my doorstep. I'm going to turn this back down to 100% speed so that I get good quality. And 100% speed is the speed that I'm printing at on my K1 most of the time. So it's not a slow profile by any means. This is pretty fast. Who pays for a Fusion 360 license? Just be a indefinite student or hobbyist, then it's free. But you don't get analysis. You don't get any finite element analysis on Fusion 360 unless you pay, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, so 3D Geek, all you need to do is get an accelerometer. Well, the simple answer is to get a sonic pad, one of these things. And then you can just plug that into your ender and get it working that way. But you'll probably also need to upgrade the hot end to direct drive, because direct drive extruders, in my experience, I'm able to get better and more consistent and higher speed printing out of them. Yeah, so 3D Geek, the simple solution is to just get a sonic pad. Just get the Creality sonic pad. It comes with an accelerometer and a screen and everything that you need to just switch it over to Clipper, and then you'll get this type of web interface with it. That's the Clipper for Dummies kind of approach. The other way is to get a computer and like install Linux on it and install Clipper on it and flash your 3D printer over to Clipper firmware. It's a lot of work that the Sonic Pad makes a lot easier. Fukus Odin 02 F2. That isn't compatible with the Sonic Pad, so you would just need to do Clipper. You like figure out how to install Clipper. It's a whole process. It's very nerdy. X-axis motor temperature. That's pretty warm. They're both pretty warm. Yeah, they're quite toasty. I would guess that they are 60 to 80 degrees Celsius. No, I don't think bed slingers are going to be a thing of the past. That's what they'd want you to believe so that you'll buy a new printer. But really, the only advantage that you get by going with a CoreXY architecture is that it's easier to enclose the printer. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot of reason to do a CoreXY. Like, it's very, you know, there's been so much hype built up over needing to switch to CoreXY to get speed, but the truth is that bed slingers can go fast too. It's really not that different. I have an accelerometer that I've tried. I haven't tried it out yet, but I bought it. It's the Fistech PIS portable input shaper. It's a tiny little PCB with a USB, like you plug it in over USB into the microcontroller or into your Arduino or whatever's running the Clipper thing. But yeah, just look up Fistech PIS portable input shaper, and you can get them on Amazon for like $25 or AliExpress for like $15, I think. Hello 3D Puck, Tech Channel. Well, honestly, the price for this printer is very good compared to a Sonic Pad. Like a sonic pad, I think is like $160. For $100 extra, you get the entire printer, which it has a better extruder. You know, a touch. Well, you get a touchpad interface with the sonic pad, but this has a really good extruder upgrade on here compared to what you get on the Ender 3 V2. This is pretty good speed though. All right, how much time? It's 81% complete, so there's just a few more top layers that it has to finish. Ender 3 extruder is terrible. Yeah, that's true. What am I printing? I'm printing a NBR logo. It's going 200 and it's alternating between 200 millimeters per second and 250 millimeters per second, depending on the feature. I guess 150 to 250 is the print speeds. So for any of the external perimeters, it's going 150. For internal perimeters, it's going 250. Oh, no. For external perimeters, it's doing 200. And infill is 200. So yeah, most of the features are 200 or 250. So it's going pretty fast. I'm going to put a little accent layer on the top here. We'll see if I can not mess this up. I don't need an AMS. All right, there we go. The new filament is loaded. I figure the Mingda can at least be useful for something. It's a big expensive spool holder right now. The Ultimate Ender 3 V2 hot end you recommend? I would recommend the Micro Swiss NG extruder system. It comes with a hot end usually, so I'd just go with that. Oh no, what's wrong? It finished. What? Huh. Is that done? It's not finished, but it says printer is ready, and it switched over to this clipper menu. And it says it's 99% complete. Maybe it's done. Okay. Well, all right, I guess it's done. I changed filament too late. So it's, I didn't get my multi-filament colors like I wanted. But overall, the print looks good. Now keep in mind, this is the exact same print profile that I use on my K1. So, and I think this is coming out with better quality than the K1, which is kind of sad because that printer's more expensive. This took 30 minutes. Ooh, that bed is hot. All right, let me cool this off. All right, so there's our little print. Looks pretty good. I mean, there you can see a little bit of ringing going around the bottom corner of that R, but really, that doesn't bother me that much. I think you can push the K1 to go faster than the Neptune can go. But I don't use my printers at their 100% maximum theoretical speed because you're going to get lower quality. This is doing a good job with a moderately fast profile that I've designed. And it's the same profile that I run on my K1 and some of my other printers as well. Cool. Yeah, so 3D Geek, my advice to you would just to be honest, you should just buy one of these. Elegoo. There's your new printer. 3D Geek wants to know a cheaper option. Well, I mean, there's all sorts of mods that you can do, kind of DIY style. You could 3D print an entire hot end, like tool head thing, and get like about a $40 extruder. But you need to upgrade the extruder to get like the fastest print speeds, just because direct drive ends up being faster in my experience. There's a lot of people that are like, oh no, I can print a speed benchy with 10,000 millimeters per second squared acceleration. And it's like, yeah, but the benchy looks like crap, so. This looks pretty good. Okay, well, we already decided that the Mingda won this round. It's clearly the better printer, but as a close second place, we have the Elegoo Neptune. The Neptune 4. V6 plus Bondtech would be pretty expensive. Bondtech extruders, I guess, you know, they're kind of expensive, and there's a lot of work that you're gonna have to do to upgrade and mod that stuff, like getting the wiring, and I guess it wouldn't be too bad. It all comes down to what you want to spend your time doing. If you want a project and you want to like put something together, just buy some cheap components and slap something together. You can get like a cheaper, like the Sherpa Mini or Orbiter hot end extruder. Those end up being pretty cheap, and you can 3D print a tool head around them, and then get like a relatively cheap hot end as well. I like the ceramic heater core hot ends, the CHC, or you could even wire it up with one of these Bamboo Lab hot ends. These are pretty affordable. I think this whole thing is under $40. So that's the hot end, heater, heat sink, all of that stuff. So if you can find if someone's done a mod of that, where basically you attach, you know, these two things together, for example, like the LGX Lite and Bamboo Lab hot end, that would be a pretty sweet setup. But there's lots of good options there. Well, I did like the Neptune. It was a very good printer. But the Mingda was just better overall. I mean, sure, I didn't get to print with it because the hot end was wired up faulty or something, and I'm just kind of kidding around here. The Mingda was an awful printer. It didn't even start up. As soon as I told it to do something, the hot end was overheating, and it was probably like 300 degrees Celsius before I pulled the plug on it. Versus our nice little Neptune here, was able to print a variety of test prints. Everything went together smoothly, and they're the same price, so there's pretty much no reason to buy that Mingda unless, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't get it because it didn't work. The Neptune 2 on the other hand, Neptune 4 on the other hand, was very good. Very nice. So, all right, I think we're gonna have to call it here. It's like a 3.5 hour little live stream. So I hope you all enjoyed and learned something about these little printers. And yeah, make sure to subscribe and stuff. So I'll see you in the later episodes that aren't this episode, because this one's over.